Hi everyone, how are you all doing? It's Luke here and welcome to Homemade Reviews, a place where I talk movies and I make really amateur videos. If you do like this kind of film nonsense, a like and subscribe is always welcome. But if you do like professionalism, I'm going to apologise in advance. So today I want to talk about a recent film watch. But let's be honest, this film isn't the review that the world is screaming out for. And I highly doubt I'm going to get many reviews. But hey, that's not why I do this. I just like talking about the films I've seen recently. So today, it's the 1960 classic Inherit the Wind. So this movie is the review I said no one is asking for. Well, to be fair, the reason I watched it is simple. Recently I had a little bout of man flu, or a slight cold as my wife constantly reminded me. I was laying in bed feeling really sorry for myself, and I wanted to put a movie on that I could simply fall asleep to. I was looking for something achingly dull, something boring that I could nod off to. I went to Prime, I scrolled through, and there it was, Inherit the Wind. I'd never heard of it before, and frankly, it looked like a proper snooze fest. It looked like a perfect accompaniment for an afternoon nap. Well, as you can guess from this review, that's not quite what happened. So Inherit the Wind is from 1960, and it's an American drama directed by Stanley Kramer and based on the 1955 play of the same name, which was written by Jerome Lawrence and Robert Edwin Lee. Now, and it stars some absolute classic old school film stars. We have Spencer Tracy, Gene Kelly and Fredric March. The movie is set in the 1920s in the town of Hillsborough, in what I can only assume is a southern state somewhere. And it begins with a school teacher called Bertram Cates who gets arrested for violating state law by conducting a lesson on Charles Darwin's Descent of Man. The event makes headlines around the world, and Matthew Brady, who's a statesman, a three-time presidential candidate and a biblical scholar, comes to the town to volunteer to assist the local prosecutor Tom Davenport. While that's happening, we have Hornbeck, who's of the Baltimore Herald and he's an influential newspaperman. He seizes the opportunity to announce that Cates' defence attorney will be provided by the newspaper, and he will be the equally well-known Henry Drummond, who's one of America's most controversial legal minds and a really well-known notorious agnostic.
For our science lesson for today, we will continue our discussion of Darwin's theory of the descent of man.
Give me that old time religion.
You're charged with violation of the state code, which makes it unlawful for any teacher of the public schools to teach any theory that denies the creation of man as taught in the Bible.
Give me that old time religion.
Matthew Harrison Brady volunteers to prosecute in monkey trial.
The Lord has sent us his right hand.
These priests of evolution, they are lost, my friends. I disagree. My paper is happy to announce that it is sending Henry Drummond.
It's good enough for me.
After all these years, we find ourselves on the opposite side of an issue.
Well, that's evolution for you.
The source material for this film is actually from the Scopes monkey trial, which took place in July 1925, and it actually resulted in John Scopes' conviction for teaching Darwinism and Charles Darwin's Evolution of Man to high school children in a science class, and that was contrary to the Tennessee state law at the time. So what we have here really is a courtroom movie. So let's have a look at the themes. Now, it could be seen as a searing indictment of religious fundamentalism and anti-intellectualism, but to me that would be a really simplistic view of what this film really is. To me, it's a fair-minded movie showing the hypocrisy on both sides of the issue. What we have here is a solid, old-fashioned values being challenged. So it's the status quo versus the future, it's science versus religion, it's the past versus progress. To me, the movie takes a fascinating approach actually, and it allows both sides to a certain degree to really air their case. I never felt it was good guys versus bad guys. It was more about communities with very different worldviews, which frankly is a battle that still rages today, doesn't it? And there are actually millions of people out there who still deny evolution. But what can you do? So I thought Drummond's viewpoint was spot on, as he concluded that the knowledge of creation was still kind of developing, and since no individual could really defend their position clearly, because they don't have all the facts, Therefore, he kind of suggests that each person, including the teacher, has the right to formulate their own viewpoint regarding creation. So basically, think what you like. While the other side wasn't as fluid, and it was very much, this is as it is and this is what it was. This film wouldn't work for me without the two lead... Now this film wouldn't work for me at all without the two towering performances of both Tracy and March going head to head. What was interesting was these two characters were clearly friends and had a shared background, but they had really opposing views, and it's this relationship dynamic that made the film really interesting to me. So the story is top notch, and it was a delicate balance between these two arguments. The film is incredibly well acted. The filmmaking itself was nothing particularly special, but frankly it didn't need to be. All you've got to do is point the camera at the film stars and let them do their magic with an amazing script. So I picked this movie because I thought it would be dull. How wrong I was. I thought this was a true classic. It really highlighted an important discussion point that I found really interesting, and it was done in a really sensible and mature way. I really recommend it. Top marks, go watch it. Anyway, that's enough from me. Thanks very much for joining. I hope you liked it. Like and subscribe if you did, but don't if you don't, and I'll see you all on the next one. Bye.